This talk is going to be about the kind of it's not an empire, but it's like a conglomerate of sovereign nations. And the one law would be that you don't impose your will upon anyone else. It's okay to have an internally integrated system that doesn't contradict itself. It can perpetuate itself into, indefinite affinity, but it doesn't have to be anything else. It just has to be logically consistent in order for it to sustain itself indefinitely. Now, in real life, there are subjects that occupy these. So just because it works theoretically doesn't mean that it'll work in reality. And like my theory is one example. Like I have been able to create this idea where you can pay people in labor vouchers for their labor instead of using a fiat currency. You generate currency when someone is verified to have completed a particular labor task to the quality necessary and quantity necessary to transform base materials into a final product, or a dissatisfied customer that it needs some kind of satisfaction in a service and receives that service to their satisfaction. The transformation between those states is what defines what a job or task is. And then if you pay someone accordingly to that, then the currency is based upon people's labor. It's not based upon just the government printing out money for no reason, independently of the population. And the population really makes the difference, because the population is the one that experiences the inflation or deflation dependent upon how much currency there is in relation to the population number. So if there's $100,000 per capita, then every single person in that country can earn up to $100,000, but no more. Now, most people aren't going to earn that much. Some are going to earn that, and some are going to earn even more. And so then it'll disperse like that. But the way that you make the currency is based off of the completion of labor, and then they get credited a particular currency amount in their labor units. And it's digital, it's not physical, and that way people can't steal it. But they also can't pay each other either. They only can pay the time bank. So they can generate a work order, for example, in the time bank and say, I need such and such state transformed into such and such state. And the time bank will be used as a platform to have that task as placed, and then you can put however much money or whatever labor units, for example, that you want to contribute to that to make sure that it gets completed. And what would happen is that you would pay the time bank a certain number of labor units, and the time bank would destroy those and deduct them from your account. And then when somebody completes the task, they would generate new labor units and give those labor units to the laborer that completed that labor task. And by so doing, no one can steal from each other. The currency gets generated as needed, because there's just a determination of whether or not a task was completed. And of course, it's going to have some balance with agriculture, because it's going to have to feed the worker that works these tasks. Whatever the worker themselves needs will necessarily be offered by that time bank also, because if the time bank can't support the person that is providing these services or commodities, then that person can't provide those services and commodities. So the time bank also has to provide for the needs of the average person: shelter, clothing, food, water, electricity, communication, and transportation. And if it can provide all of those things, then, those will all be owned by the government. And because there isn't a fiat currency, they'll just generate that in labor units or vouchers or whatever you want to call it, credits or something, to pay the people to complete the task to create these utilities, and then charge them in terms of labor again. So they'll generate the labor units to pay them to complete the utilities, and then they'll charge them in those same units to use that service. So it's balanced. It doesn't overcompensate or undercompensate. It just pays exactly as much as it's worth. And that is something that is completely different from capitalism, which is to try to make something as cheap as possible, as fast as possible, in which case it will last the least amount of time as possible also. It's not built to last. Nothing in capitalism is ever built to last. It's all disposable. That's the thing that sucks about capitalism. And the longer that it goes on, the more people will realize that it's a plastic economy. It works off of providing disposable everything. Disposable income, disposable people, disposable stuff, disposable music, disposable TV shows, disposable advertisements, disposable everything. Everything in capitalism is made to be disposable and replaced immediately by something else. Nothing is built to last. It doesn't have any respect for legacy or tradition. It has no value. It doesn't value at all the austerity of the past. It just only looks towards the disposable present and future. And there's something about that that's dehumanizing, that the communists do get right. There is a dehumanization to the work that most humans have to provide, because most of the work that humans have to provide in today's society is menial. It's something that any robot could replicate easily and more efficiently than a human could do. But humans do it anyway. So I think in the future, all of those jobs will be replaced by AI, because it's easy to replace cleaning a toilet or answering a phone even. They've got so many of these programs that answer your phone. Oh, well, you've reached Excel Energy, say or enter your account number followed by the pound sign. And you enter in your account number, and the AI system will, guide you through this process. Most people's jobs are being overridden by AI. Eventually, all jobs will be. And then the government will provide us with UBI or some other bullshit thing. And really, if we were going to do this the right way, where automation replaces all of our menial jobs that we don't really need to do, that are just kind of stupid, the jobs that everyone would hate to have, like garbage collection, driving a car, delivering stuff, answering the phone, taking out the trash, just the menial jobs, answering the phone, grilling people's food at the grill for their order, all that kind of thing. Unless you're a personal chef, that's not going to appeal to you. Unless you're an artisan in your craft, that's not going to appeal to you. If you're just doing it for the paycheck, it's not going to appeal to you. So if someone wants to hire another human for the artistic, artisanal, quality of the work, so that it's authentic, austere, has an auspicious background, or ancient type of traditional, organic methodology or something like that, I guess you could pay extra for that. But most people don't care. They're just going to get their stuff from a robot. Some AI will provide it to them. You want a piece of gum, here it is. You want some candy, there it is. You want a steak, here it is. You want some electricity, there it is. You want to watch TV, here it is. All of this stuff that you could ever want. You want to play a game, there it is. And all of this stuff would just all be automated. And so the system would just be able to provide all those needs or wants in the form of an AI, which would replace all of our jobs with the only thing that we would do is determine what the AI does. So we would have jobs for voting what the AI will do next. Like if we're going to colonize Mars or Jupiter, are we going to build generation ships so that we can live in space instead of on a planet? We just live on the ship. If the ship is really nice, maybe we could do that. Or we could try to colonize the just adjacent to the sun, and try to garner as much energy as possible to build this giant Matryoshka brain or something in order to build a simulator that's as realistic as reality, and then we could die 1,000 deaths and live 1,000 lives in an instant, kind of a thing, if that's what we wanted to do. There's all kinds of things out there that we could try to do. So there's a bunch of things that I think humans don't really consider, that we tend to get into this faithless existence of it's just the way it appears to be, and it's just shallow, deep, and all that. And the more that you think that that's the case, the more it will be like that. But if you give it the opportunity to be something beyond just skin deep, it will begin to reveal itself and unfold itself to be grander than your current thought is that it is.